Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special show today. If at any point I disappear, go somewhere, you don't hear me, you do hear me, you suddenly maybe can hear me or can't, that's because I'm trying to fiddle two things at the same time. I'm trying to get live here and live here. I'm pointing down towards the radio, by the way, not anything else. So thank you so much for joining me. And I've got a wonderful guest today. I'll introduce her very shortly. But before I do, I just want to say hello. And how's your week been? I hope it's been good. Mine has been pretty wonderful so far, and it's only about to get even more wonderful, I'm sure, when I get to speak to my guest, who is a genuine, real life ELT superstar. Apparently, the mic sounds a bit sketchy, so I'm just checking with that to make sure it's okay there. See if that one's a bit better. Is that one a bit better there, Tom? Can you hear a bit better? So it's a genuine real life ELT superstar who we've got on today. I'm sure those of you who are tuning in are well aware of who she is. She's that person who talks to herself as different languages, is one way to say it, but she's also an awful lot more than that, I have to say. She's somebody that's made me laugh on so many occasions, uncountable occasions. And I'm going to welcome her to the studio now. Her name's Miranda. I'm sure you know who she is. So I'm going to bring her in now, and I'm going to say to her, on your laptop, you can unmute, but can you turn the sound down? There you go. And that's about that. Here's Miranda. Oh, there you go. I'm going to unmute her. There we go. Hello, Miranda. How are you?
Hi, I'm really well. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. There we go. I can't hear myself, I don't think. I was just double checking and I can't. It's amazing. So that's all good. Tell me more about yourself. Miranda, we all know you. I know you. I've seen you for many, many, many months gracing my internet. But who is Miranda? Tell us a little more about yourself.
Sure. Well, I am, I would say I'm involved in educational publishing, and I'm a word nerd. I would say basically, I'm a big word nerd. I love language. I think it's brilliant, and everything connected with it. And I'm really passionate about helping teachers as well. I think one of my big professional goal is to help teachers give great lessons and give them all of the tools that they need to give great lessons. So those are my things. Yeah.
Word nerd. How did I not get, when I was like typing up the thing, it took me so long to get the poster right. I put lover of words. Like, how did I not think of word nerd? Like, what is wrong with me? Oh my! I feel I've lost all punnery power. I can hand my hat in. I can resign. There's not okay, really. It's unacceptable behaviour on my part, and I apologise to anyone related to puns for that lover of words, word nerd. Oh. And you do like helping teachers, because you do help teachers not only with the professional side of things, because there's a lot of professional side of things, but also with the personal side of things. There's a lot of laughter that comes from what you do. We'll get onto that a bit later. But right now, I'd like to know a little bit about your journey through ELT.
Sure. Okay. Well, I would say when I was a child, I was really lucky in one thing, which is that my parents always had lodgers in the house. So there was always different people from all over the world, like living in our house with us. And I think that was very formative as a child. And the other thing what I would really, that comes up later in this story, got to set up the story, right, is that I was incredibly bad at spelling. I still am incredibly bad at spelling. And I was so frustrated with the English language. And I found that everyone was very frustrated with me because I had to ask how to spell my grandparents' surname every time I wrote to them, every single time. It was very annoying for everyone. And then later on, I studied English and history at university, at the University of York. I went on to work in a boys' boarding school as an assistant matron in the UK, and then did my CELTA, went off to Tanzania, homeschooled some kids on like the side of a volcano there, in the jungle, basically on an avocado farm, and then I moved to Bolivia.
Wow.
And then in Bolivia,
this is not a traditional route. This is not a traditional route in TEFL, by the way. This is
no,
so different.
No. And then while in Bolivia, I was teaching English, and I made a really good friend called Joe, and we decided that we wanted to start our own language school. So we did. We pooled all our money. We lived in the school for like a year and started up an institute, and it was really hard work, and eventually we got it up and running, and another friend joined us as a co-director, so the three of us running the school together. It was absolutely brilliant. And we built the school up to like 400 students, I think it was, about when I left, 350, 400 students. And then since then, I'm still a silent partner in the school, but I fell in love, moved away, and now I'm working for Twinkle. I'm their ESL segment manager for Europe, which involves, it's my job to help teachers, basically. So making resources, building up their social media presence, and very kindly they've let me do it by making these ridiculous videos. Suddenly that really took off. So that's what's going on at the moment. And meanwhile, I've been studying to get my MBA, so keeping nice and busy, and getting some new cool opportunities as well.
I'm trying to imagine you as a silent partner. I can imagine you as maybe not a loud partner, but a silent partner is something, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know you well enough, but silence isn't something that strikes me as being something that would be very you. You're just so good when you're not silent. So I don't know.
That's kind. I don't know. I'm pretty chatty, but like what I mean by that is it was never our intention with the Institute to make a ton of money. It was only ever the intention to build something great. And I trust my partners completely. They are the best people in the world that could possibly be running a school. And so my role now is just really to support them in what they're doing. I don't try and tell them what they should be doing, or, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I completely understand. Yeah. I started trying to be funny. Failing again. So these videos, they're so good. They are so funny. I know I mentioned to you briefly before we came on that when I posted it, the first thing that happened was my mum jumped in there and said, "Wow, I've really laughed out loud to her videos in the past." I don't know if I've ever seen my mum laugh. That's a joke, Mum, if you're watching. She does laugh at stuff all the time. She's a regular laugh bot, if that's a thing. I don't know. I just invented that thing. But where did the idea come from to do that? Because this is one of the things that I see really helps teachers, but it helps teachers not necessarily with their classroom content, but more with their, understanding of the language, and they're kind of just looking at it as in a less serious way, maybe.
I hope so. I'm a big fan of your mum. She sounds great. Yeah, I'm constantly overwhelmed. I don't think I can quite take on board the fact that like people watch these videos, and I try not to think about it honestly, because it's weird thinking, you know, I'm like jumping around my kitchen in an old jumper, and you know 100,000 people are gonna look at it. Like I can't, like it's strange to think about sometimes. So, but I do think that, you know, we're in a place now where all of the information in the world is available to you if you have a smartphone or a computer. So the teacher's job really is to make it engaging and interesting. That is the number one thing that we have to do. And one of the best ways to do that is through humor. So yeah, I think humor is a huge learning tool that you know, we don't get taught. No one's taught that in their CELTA. No one's taught how to use humor. But it's so important, I think. And, you know, when you're learning, I think you feel very vulnerable. You feel like every failure is kind of like somehow, you know, reflects on you so personally. And you know, it's a really hard thing to put yourself out there in a new language, because you're basically like a toddler, you know, you can't really communicate even your basic needs. And humor is such an important way of diffusing that tension and saying, you know what, it's not you, it is this language. If you struggle, it's not because, you know, there's something wrong with you. It's just, this is an incredibly complex thing to do, and well done. You know, like when I still struggle with spelling. I hate spelling. I'm so bad at it. But at least now, like, so this is kind of like my revenge on the English language, you know. It's what I would have wanted when I was a child, someone to say like, no, it's not just rules and you have to understand them. It's this incredibly complex, almost living thing that's constantly evolving. And now especially, when we go online, I don't know about you, but I'm always seeing ads that say something like, oh, learn Spanish in 3 weeks, learn English in 3 weeks. And it's not going to happen. Those things set you up to fail and feel bad about yourself. And so to counter that, we have to say, no, this is, you know, an ongoing process. It'll take years. And even someone who speaks it as a first language is always going to struggle with it. And let's laugh at that, because it's going to make you laugh or cry. So
yeah, I mean, there's a few things in there that I really picked up on. The first one is not a set of rules. Now, one of the videos I was watching very recently was the future one, where you talk about how, you know, okay, so to talk about the future, we use will or won't, you know, so, and then you go through obviously all of the many other options you can use to talk about the future. And yeah, the fact is, it's so far from being a language of rules. For me, the way English grammar's been formed is almost like it was there, like it's all happened in the past. It's kind of built up through the times, and people have gone, oh no, we need to make some rules for this. Okay, well, I think that could maybe go there. And oh, what about that one? Yeah, I think maybe we should move that one. That doesn't fit in this one really, but subjunctive. Oh, they have that in all the languages. We should have a subjunctive. What should we use it with? I don't know. How's about if I were? Brilliant. That can go in the subjunctive. But that's also a conditional. Yeah, but truth be told, there you go. Let's put that one in the subjunctive. Like, I remember teaching the subjunctive to a class of C2 students a while back, and just it took me so long, like, to prepare the class, because I was just like, this isn't really a thing in English. Like, this is just about 10 different phrases that we've chucked in there. Like this, you know, when you look at it in Spanish, it's like it is a thing, but in English, it's like this feels like a bit of a fake unit in a textbook that we've just chucked in here that we could easily do in 10 phrases.
Definitely. And I think, you know, talking about like the evolution of language in the same way that, you know, a particular species wouldn't say, oh, well, I'm this particular species, so I should have these, and these characteristics. They don't care what evolutionary line they're in. They just kind of develop. Like English is the same way. And I would add constantly evolving, you know, like that's the wonderful thing about, again, English compared to Spanish. Someone is in charge of, you know, ostensibly, someone is in charge of Spanish the Cervantes Institute, you know, says what is right and what is wrong, but no one does that in English. It's just like, it's the Wild West. And I kind of love that about it. It's democratic in a way. Yeah.
I
But
remember my CELTA tutor said to me, you need to think of English as being a language that has one mother and many, many fathers. And I was like, okay, well, fair enough. But, you know, just why does it have to have one mother? Why can't it have many mothers and many fathers? But, you know, it does have all of these different influences constantly coming in and changing it. And
yeah.
And it has gone from, you know, now it's not only influences from other languages, obviously it's influences from other Englishes almost. So, you know, you have your British Englishes, your American Englishes, but then you also have your Malay English, your Indian English, your you know, all of these different Englishes influencing. And you can especially see it in, you know, in very international cities. So if you go to London, for example, you'll see all of these different influences of English coming into the way people are speaking. You know, you've got Creole coming in there as well. And it's fascinating to see how that kind of just goes and grows and spreads and goes all over the place.
Yes.
So, I absolutely, I'm completely with you. And as far as being a word nerd as well, I do love a bit of etymology and history of words and all that kind of stuff. And we'll talk about that shortly.
Cool.
But I would like to ask you, now you said hundreds of thousands of people see you said 100,000 people see your videos earlier. Now I'd just like to add more than that see your videos. Simply on Facebook alone, one of the ones I was looking at the other day had 511,000 views. And that was only on Facebook. That wasn't even on LinkedIn as well, where, you know, you can also see these brilliant videos. And I think it was my favorite one, actually. The one you did the one about the way you see American English as being like a younger sibling of or the child of English, the teenage child of English, of British English, and with the influences of French and Spanish in there. There was lots of lolling when it came to that. How do you come up with this stuff is what I want to know.
Well, I would say like the original idea of like personifying these languages is something that, well, TikTok, I think, is an incredibly powerful tool when it comes to being creative, because if you say to someone like, oh, say something funny, like, Harry, say something funny, you know, you're just gonna look at me like, but that was quite funny, actually. But if you go on TikTok, it's incredibly easy to be funny because you're given a format and you just have to apply that format to you or your life or your career or something that you know about. And there you go, like you have a joke. So it's, you know, and one of the big trends on there is personifying things, you know, it might be a shampoo bottle or a cloud, like it can be literally anything. And so a lot of the inspiration comes from there. And then a lot of the inspiration comes from my students. When I had students in Bolivia, you know, there were so many times when they would come across something in English that we just take for granted, and they would see it and be like, well, that's weird. You know, like one of the things I was thinking about the other day was the fact that we say night, night. Like you couldn't say that in Spanish. You couldn't be like, noche, noche. Like it just doesn't, it's silly. It's so silly. But we never think about that. So a lot of the inspiration comes from what they found odd or what they found funny or unusual or illogical, you know, or frustrating as well. You know, those future tenses are incredibly frustrating. So I find inspiration from that. And then finally, you know, because I've been lucky enough to build up lots of connections on social media, people contact me all the time and say, oh, you should make a video about this or that. You know, my friends mentioned things to me like collective nouns. That was my friend who was like, oh, what about collective nouns? And I was like, yes, of course I have to make that video, you know? So, I don't know. And I you know, suddenly it'll just click together in your minds, you know, when I'm cycling or doing
I
something
love
else.
the naught when you're talking about the different ways of saying zero. No, the naught, and then going through the spelling of naught. I was just like, so true. Like, it's so insanely ridiculous. Why on earth would you spell it like that? Like, just utterly absurd. Spelling is something that I've also struggled with throughout my life. And it is quite often flicked to find synonyms of words, just like in my brain.
Yes. My whole degree, I was like, I study English lit. Dot.
Yeah, exactly. That'll do. I'll stop there. Lit. There you go. Lit. Yes, that'll do.
I was an entrepreneur, but I couldn't spell it.
Yeah,
like this.
So many words that I write scripts. Quite a lot of the materials I do, I write scripts, and I'll be going through, I'll be typing away, and I'll just be like, it has a spell check. Those things can easily be found, but I'll get halfway through a word and just be like, nope, I'm gonna go for an alternative. And also, I like what America has done with a lot of our spellings, how they've simplified them. I know it's an un-British thing to say, but why do we need to have two practices? Why does that need to exist? Why does there need to be an S practice and a C practice? Because I can't get it right. It doesn't matter if I know which one is which. I can't get it right. I cannot do it. The amount of time, whenever I just go with the C spelling, and if it's wrong, then someone can correct it rather than trying to guess which way to go. So ridiculous. And this is one of the things I try to impress on my students all the time, that English is ridiculous. It's fun. It's super important. But it really is ridiculous. So trying to come up with like a logic behind it is pretty futile. Why is it this and not this? Well, that's a great question. You should watch some of Miranda's videos, and that will tell you. Well, it won't tell you why. It will just tell you that it is there.
I'll give you an explanation, but not the real explanation.
Well, yeah. I think becoming an English teacher was one of the most humbling things in the world for me, because it got me to that whole point of saying, you know what? I don't really know, but I'll try and find out, or there isn't really an explanation for it. Like adjective order, why do we have osacom? Well, because we do. Because it sounds good that way. Because that I hate to say this, but that's how it's always been done. That for me is the worst phrase in the world. But with that in English, that's one of those things that comes up. Now, Bhavna has asked the question. She said, "What was your first video about?"
Well,
I can't wait to search this.
The first video that was really successful was about the word makeup, and it was Spanish asking what all of these different words, how to translate all of these different words into English. And English was like just sitting there doing their makeup and was like, I don't know, like just makeup for all of these different words. And Spanish was getting more and more frustrated. That was the one I first made with the different languages. And that, like, I remember I went to the gym and talked to my friend that evening. This is about a year ago. And I was like, I think I've just made a video so ridiculous, I'm going to be fired. Like, I really thought that I'd lost my job, because it was just like, I was just like, what is this? Like, oh, what have I done? What have I put out on the internet? And it was only the next morning when I was like, holy smokes, this has 30,000 views. And I sent it to my sister and she's like, no, it doesn't. It has 80,000 views. And then I just kept watching. And like, it built up like 2 million views that weekend. And I was just like wandering around, like kind of shocked. Not getting fired. Not getting fired. Exactly. Not fired. But I think one of the things that people don't see is I was making videos for like a year before then. It's just that they were really, really bad. So, I was recording on my laptop camera, and they were just kind of they got better over time. I should show you some of them. They're just like, not great quality, not great filming quality, not very clear. So it was a long learning process before I got to that, before I hit on the right format.
The breakout moment.
Yeah, it's just a lot of practice, basically.
Which was the one I was watching the other day? The put one. The put up, put down, and so on and so forth. That one. And I realised you didn't mention putting up shelves. Just you mentioned all the other put ups, but I was like, what about putting up shelves? There's another one. Brilliant. I was like, I can't wait to speak to her. I can't wait to. This was maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and I was just like, oh, I've got another one to tell her. So I got really excited watching that. And I was chatting to my wife the other day as well, and I was like, oh, you're never gonna guess who I've got on. You're never gonna guess. She's like, who is it? Who is it? I was like, it's Miranda. She's like, okay. She's like, she's like, I was like, Miranda. She's like, okay, very, very good. And I was like, and I showed her. She's like, okay, now I've got you. Now I've got you. She's like, there you go. So, why didn't you say about the languages? I was like, okay, there you go, fair enough. So yeah, it just I thought the name was ubiquitous with the whole ELT world, but she's not actually very much in the ELT world anymore. She
of course.
She does teach English. She has been an English teacher for 10 years, but she's now a photographer. So her social media, her algorithms direct her in other directions. Whereas my feed, whenever you post a video, it's obviously the first thing in there. Like, there you go. So, every social media. And that's something I never know. Which one do I comment on? Like, which do I comment on? The Facebook one? Do I comment on it on LinkedIn? Like, I just don't know anymore. So confusing. And I'm the same, because I post everything on every social media as well. Like, I've even started posting on TikTok as well, which was a troubling thing for me to do at first. I was like, am I ready for this? It's okay. Nobody watches your TikTok videos, Harry, so you can post whatever you want.
I will put something on TikTok and it'll get like 1 like, and I'll post it on Facebook and it'll get 500 likes. And I'm just like, why? I don't. Yeah, it's odd like that. It's really odd like that. I don't know how they do. I find that
it is really funny. Like, so looking at, I think it's certainly the type of content. Like, I think TikTok, the way, Charlie's lessons obviously as well. He's got his like YouTube thing and his TikTok thing, and he's got them like down to a T, because they're both different. The way he's figured it out. I just can't be bothered to make fresh content for different areas. So I'm just like, let's put it up there. If someone looks at it on TikTok, they look. If they don't, then never mind. It's not my target audience goal area. I just thought I should probably do it because everybody is. And when has peer pressure not been a good thing in life? You should definitely do that, Harry. Whee! Bad idea. So we talked. Well, you mentioned your videos. The first ones you were doing with your laptop camera. What equipment do you use now?
I have a phone. I have a Samsung phone. Like, it's really nothing fancy at all. And I have. Oh, that's not true.
Oh, something fancy,
fancy. I have a phone and I have a stand, and that's it. So that's how I do all of my filming. And then I use Premiere Pro to do the editing, which it's really annoying when you first use it and makes you want to swear quite a lot. But once you get the hang of it, it's really useful. Yeah.
I swear quite a lot anyway, so it's probably a good idea to use something like that, because then I can just continue in that vein of being sweary. Just checking the comments in here. Oh, great question here from Michelle. We've got Michelle, Teresa, and Bhavana watching over on YouTube at the moment.
Nice.
And Michelle wants to know, how long does it take for you to script and film a video?
Oh, I would say the entire process probably takes 2 days. Most of that time is editing. The editing takes a long time because for each video, even though it's 3 minutes, I probably have an hour of footage. Mostly because my recording setup is so bad that like I'm often standing like the video. I'll watch back the playback and I'm like this or like this. So I'm like, oh, I have to redo that whole thing. Yeah, and then so it is time consuming, which is for 3 minutes of footage, 2 days of your life is a lot. And then writing the scripts. Like I wrote a script last night, probably took me half an hour. But other times I'll have an idea, I'll write a little bit, and then I'll come back to it in like 2 months because I've suddenly like clicked. Like the one about American English, I wrote that script and then I went away for like 2 months, and then something I realized, I was like, oh, it has to end with like British English begging American English to keep using English. Like that's how it has to end. And then like, months after having the original idea, that's when I actually finished the script and filmed it. So yeah.
And what are your top tips for making videos? Italy's finest language institution has asked you, Kids Can English School. They've asked you, what are your top tips for making videos?
Make it really dynamic. People want to see other people dancing around, jumping, playing games, being silly. And make sure that you get your content, make sure you go straight to content. No intro video, no preamble, no my name is blah, blah, blah. And today I'm going to blah, blah, blah. By that time, you've lost half your audience. Think about a TED talk. The first thing you hear in a TED talk is never, oh, hello, my name is Miranda Crowhurst, and today I'm going to talk about languages. The first thing you'll hear on a TED talk is something like, no one had ever ridden an octopus before, or some like rhetorical question, they have that hook, and it's the first 3 seconds. So the first 3 seconds of your video are really, really vital. And I would say also draw a lot of inspiration from TikTok. It's a really quick shortcut to being creative and to give you a framework to be creative. So don't be afraid to use that. And just make a video that you would want to show your best friend. Don't make a video that, think about having that positive energy more than it being perfect. Those are my tips.
Oh, kids can ask me for my tips. Don't listen to my tips. I haven't had millions of views yet. Definitely listen to Miranda's tips.
I want to hear your tips. I'm always up for tips.
The kids can just said the baby ones are hilarious. A, B, C, D. That was really good. That one was really good. That definitely gave me a giggle. So that's a kind of a newer format, isn't it? You talking to babies.
Harry, don't put yourself down.
Babies are cute.
Again, that's a trend on TikTok. So you take that same idea and you apply it to the characters that I have, and then there's a video. So that's all it is.
I think my tips for making videos, I don't really have many. Just make sure you look at the camera, because that's one thing that's really tricky, particularly if something is really scripted. There's always the temptation to get an auto cue or something like that and put it on there, but it will take your eyes
Yeah.
that little bit away from the camera, even though it's only sort of an inch away. You're not looking into the camera. I think that connection is really
Yes.
important.
Yes. And I think one thing as well that really helped me is the pacing. Like you never want that dead second before you start speaking. You have to cut it to the instant that you start speaking, to keep that pace. Like any dead time, any dead words is lost audience. So that's something I try and work on. I don't think I've got really good at it yet, but it's something I
And
think about.
subtitles as well. Obviously, subtitles are pretty important, because 90% of people are going to listen to your videos without actually listening to them. They'll just read them with the sound off. That's something I've learned recently, to try and
Yes.
put them in. Or Michelle says, maybe I should get TikTok. I've avoided it so far. Well, TikTok's great for ideas, I guess, Michelle, even if you're not going to post on there. And Kids Can said, maybe we should ask Ali. Now, Ali is my daughter, so but she's so much better in front of the camera than I am. She's just an absolute natural. It's
awesome.
I'm not going to say it's upsetting, because it isn't. I'm very proud of her, but it's just the way she decides. So I said, Ali, what do you want to talk about today in your videos? And we'll have a quick chat about what she wants to talk about, and then we'll go and record it. There have been times when it's been in 2 takes. There's even been a time when it was in 3 takes, but usually she's just like, bam, goes in there, does it, it's like, okay, I'm going to go to school now, see you later. It's like, you're 8, man. That's not normal. That's not okay.
It's lovely. Yeah.
But she's good. She's good. I'm terrified of the day she gets TikTok. That's how good she is in front of the camera.
I think it's a skill that, like, being able to have conversations and interact via a camera is a skill that, like, we weren't taught that. I don't, kids now, like, even if they get practice with it, I don't know if you're explicitly, like, taught it. I don't know if you can be. Like, are there any different rules apart from look at the camera?
Look at the camera, yeah.
But I don't know, just what you said just kind of got me thinking about that. Is it a different skill?
I think so. And I think it is, right? Just, I don't know if it's easier. Oh, there you go. Teresa said she tends to read more subtitles than actually listening to stuff on social media, as we mentioned before. Yeah, I think it is something that comes with practice. And now that video cameras are so readily available, he says, holding up his phone to anyone listening on the radio. Now that they are so readily available, it's, I don't know, the kids are in front of them all the time, aren't they? So, and it is like, get in front of the camera, go and do something. So particularly for us, so I can send it to your grandma, so I can send it to your great grandma, so your cousins in Australia can see it. Like, I don't know, I didn't have a video camera growing up. I was never in front of a video camera when I was growing up, so I didn't learn that. But now it's there all the time, like in their faces. Yeah. Do something cute.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, fantastic. Now, we are going to shoot off for the news and adverts. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon. We're going to be talking about self-improvement, I guess, or self-educating, not only educating others. Here we go. Just going up here, just reading what Michelle said before we got to the news. We didn't have video cameras when I was growing up, and that makes me camera shy. Today's kids have been filmed since they were born. Exactly. I completely agree with you there, Michelle. Apparently my audio sounds a bit funky on the radio as well, so I'm going to see if I can figure that one out while we're going to shoot off for the news. So I'm going to disappear on here. We are back. We are live again. Can you hear me? I've switched microphone to see if it is a little better from here. Can you hear me, Miranda? Oh, I'm going to unmute you. Oh, there you go. You're back. I can hear you, but I can't see you because I haven't added you to the stream there. I can now. I can hear and see you.
I can hear you on here, but I can't hear you on the radio.
Okay.
Can you hear me on the radio?
I can hear you on the radio for sure.
Okay.
Anyone else who's listening on the radio, let's have a check. It's just because previously I've beforehand there was there we go. I can hear myself very loudly now. Can you turn your sound down on the computer?
Yeah, how's that?
Let's see. Oh no, hang on. I'm going to stop that one and try this one. There we go. How about now? That's better, isn't it? Can you hear me? Is it a muffled sound? Is it a regular sound? What kind of sound do we have? I don't even know. As long as you can hear me, that's what's important. I was told that my mic quality wasn't very good on the radio, which is somewhat disturbing because I have my quality mic plugged into the radio. So if that's not working, I'm going to have to go out all over again and get a whole new one. We've got a couple of questions that appeared. One of them I missed earlier from Bhavna, and she asked, are you planning on filming outdoors more often?
Oh! This is my new project. Oh man, I'm so excited about it as well. I'm so glad someone asked. I had this bananas idea that I wanted to do extreme reading. So reading a Twinkle story somewhere really like unusual. You know, I just did one in the mountains, which I guess isn't that extreme, but I don't know, just a little bit different. I definitely want to do more. I would love to do one in a canyon or next to a cactus or in a snowstorm. I've got so many ideas. Up a tree. I think the next one I just do up a tree. I got some feedback. You know, I put out a video saying, just tell me what you think and if this is a waste of time or something potentially good. And someone said, you know, it'd be good if the location was linked to the story. So I'm hoping to do one up a tree about, you know, forest animals, about a magpie. I think it's going to be about a magpie. And other people in the company saying, oh, we're putting out a story about Scotland. I can read it from this Scottish castle. And then someone not in the company who said, I'm going to Antarctica and also going to Everest Base Camp this year. Would you like me to read a story from these locations? And I was like, yes, you know, like, I don't know. I just think that kids would like being read a story from Everest. You know, it's just something a little bit, you know, you kind of your ears are gonna perk up when you hear that, you know? So yeah, I definitely plan to do more of those videos. I think it's just silly and joyful, and if people watch them, then I can argue to my boss that it's not a complete waste of time. So
send me to more places. There's a book about Egypt here. I think you need me to go read that in Egypt. Oh, there's a book here by the Great Barrier Reef. I think we need to go and do. I need to read it in a submarine at the Great Barrier Reef. Definitely have to. Have to do it.
Yeah, send me to space.
There you go. Obviously, just give Mr. Bezos a ring. You can jump on his. You can jump on his space tourism spacecraft, and you can be up there in a flash. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? So yeah, that's it's definitely a different idea, and it's a really nice idea. And yeah, I think the outside reading's a really good one. I like when I do storytellings, I like to do some of them I do outside. Did a few around here in the parks, not really extreme, you know, a village park. It was under a tree, and there were olives that were falling out sporadically. So at any point, somebody could have been hit by an olive. Like, so pretty extreme, let's be honest. You know, it's pretty wacky and out there that, you know, at some point someone might have been hit by an olive.
Yeah.
definitely
I love
pure
that.
danger. But yeah, I do like getting outside and doing that. It's really, it's fun and just different. But yeah,
And I hope people will get involved with it as well. You know, like if people want to read a story from somewhere interesting, amazing, different, oh, I would love it. Yeah.
I love the idea. I have a story time coming up soon, but the fact of doing the story time to other people while I'm outside live might be more tricky, because I'd need to like take my computer and tether it to my phone, and then impossible is nothing, as Adidas once famously said.
Parachute onto the roof of the, is it called the Sagrada Familia? What is it called?
Yeah, in
Yeah,
Barcelona,
parachute onto the roof, hang on, film.
Yeah, I could definitely
that's
do
possible,
that.
right?
Yeah, definitely. I remember, so I went skydiving recently, and when I got back, I mentioned doing something, and my wife just looked at me and went, "You're not Tom Cruise." I was like, "Oh, maybe not."
Hey, well, we can provide you with a stunt double.
There you go. And I reckon that, you know, in Spain there'd be an awful lot of red tape to get through to be able to jump onto a building. They'd be like, "Nope, can't do that. You've got to go through all of this bureaucracy." I love a bit of bureaucracy here in Spain. They're very, very fond of it. The right papers. And speaking of papers, you're working towards papers, as you mentioned earlier. More specifically, letters, which will end with one piece of paper, and also a title. What are you studying towards?
I just want to give you congratulations on that segue. That was wonderfully done. Seamless. Talking about letters. Yeah, I'm working towards my MBA. I will finish at the end of March. I'm so excited. I've been doing it part-time for like 2.5 years, on top of my work. So I just can't wait to have my evenings back at this point.
What inspired you to do that? Working in education and thinking, you know, what made you think MBA?
Yeah, I think it was setting up the school made me realize that I'm really passionate about small businesses in particular, and the power of a socially responsible business, I think is fantastic. I think it is a really effective way to make the world a better place. And also I think because it scared me a little bit, you know, I was afraid to tell people that I wanted to do an MBA. I was like, oh, they're just going to laugh at me, or like, no, that's not for you. You know, like it was that kind of thing where I was thinking like, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to do it or not. Like that made me want to do it. Yeah.
And you're doing it.
Yes.
So, and you finish in March, you said?
Finish end of March.
Wow. So like a month and a bit.
Yes. Yeah.
6 weeks. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that gives me a little bit of panic actually when you say it like that, because I'm still writing my dissertation, so that's my
ages. Just like 6 weeks, man. That's like forever. Oh, 6 weeks. Think of what you could do in 6 weeks. So much like dissertationing to do. It's ages. It's basically forever. It's more or less a lifetime.
I appreciate it.
That's cool. That is really cool, and I think stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing those things to improve yourself, and you know, continue learning and growing as we continue to grow ourselves. I don't want to say age, because it's not a nice way of saying it. And it's good because I've got good lighting, so I can't actually count how many wrinkles I've got. So that was a good one. So I want to talk a little bit about Twinkle.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a friend of mine not long ago. I speak to him all the time, actually. He's my best friend. It was his birthday 2 days ago. And I was speaking to him, and he said to me, this was quite a while back in October, I think. He said to me, "Oh, you know, you're doing some good stuff. I was really impressed when I saw that you were working with the BBC, but But when I saw that you'd collaborated with Twinkle, that was like, that's amazing. They're massive. He said, they saved the pandemic for us. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, every single thing we did for our homeschooling, every single thing we did was a Twinkle worksheet. And it's something I look at Twinkle in the way that it's so flexible. I mean, it's a really admirable business in that it is flexible. It can go with the times. It can go in the moment. Like, they can have COP26 things, bam, ready, done. Teachers can have them right now. And they have that flexibility, unlike a traditional course book where, it takes 2 years to make the course book. The course book comes out and it's like, David Beckham does this. And it's like, David Beckham hasn't played football for 10 years now, yet we're somehow still talking about his career at Real Madrid. And the kids in the classroom are just
Lance Armstrong, what a hero.
David who? Yeah, exactly. Lance Armstrong won 7 Tour de France. Yes, I've had them all taken away because he's a drugs cheat. But don't worry, guys, you can be a drugs cheat and still win a Winter Olympics gold. It doesn't matter. Anyway, that's a whole different story. So, and he literally said that to me. Twinkle saved the pandemic for me. So, doing some pretty good things.
Yes. I think Twinkle is an incredibly clever business because textbooks are inefficient. They just are, they are unwieldy, they are inflexible, and there's a better way to do things now. So I'm really, it's such a simple idea, but it's such a good idea to have everything you need, one payment per month, and that's like, and literally 750,000 resources. So in that way, it's really clever. But it's definitely a socially led business. Socially led? No, is that one? No, social mission led business. John Seaton is the CEO of Twinkle, and he did something incredibly brave at the beginning of the pandemic, which is, and when you think about it, for a business, it's kind of an insane thing to do, which is he decided to make Twinkle, which employs hundreds of people, free for everyone, which shouldn't make any sense. Like you can't give away everything for free and still employ people. And so that way, it was probably the boldest business move I've ever seen anyone do, because he was like, and I remember he gave a speech just before the office shut down to everyone saying like, look, we've always said that we're a social mission-led business, and this is our chance to prove it and genuinely help people. And it worked out so well, obviously a few people were frustrated saying, oh, I just paid for this and now I'm giving it away for free. But I think like the genuine gratitude from so many people was overwhelming. And I think 1 million people signed up to Twinkle and benefited from getting those resources, which, when you think about, again, what you can achieve with a company is just phenomenal. The good that you can achieve through a company is amazing. And I was really proud to be a part of it. I just started like a month ago, so it was a real like steep learning curve and hard to figure out really what was going on all the time in the pandemic, and everything is free now and but I'm really proud of what we did, and it was a cool thing, and I'm really grateful that people like your friend, say that, because that means a lot. Keeps me going.
It's good, and I think a lot of publishers kind of, with the when it came to the pandemic, there was a lot of digital books came here and digital books came there. They're all fairly cumbersome and difficult to get used to. So having just worksheets there. I'm not going to say how to put this. Textbooks how long are they going to be around for? I don't know. I think education is slowly changing, and I think it is developing to a more kind of Netflixy on-demand kind of style. I think that's the way it seems to be evolving. I think there's going to be a market for textbooks for quite a long time, because it is it is a good way. It is a way to structure your kind of entire year and plan it out and have it there in front of you. And it is a bit of that whole, it's the way we've always done it. So that mentality is going to be around for,
there's a lot of kind of like
while.
Psychological reassurance in a textbook. You can measure your progress. You can use it as a weapon if you need to.
Well, yeah, and you can use it as a crutch as well, right? Which can be good or bad.
Yes.
I know when I go into the classroom, it depends which class it is. But for example, the class I had right before we were talking today, and we have a group of 6 and 7-year-olds. We have an activity book from a textbook, so they can practice their writing and do this and do that, and we have that there. But we don't use it very often because we do a lot of other activities, and we do a lot of like play learning and a lot of things that kids need when they're learning. But the parents were the ones who were like, well, they need a book. And we're like, well, they don't really. What they need is their notebook, and they need to take good notes or take notes when they're asked to. But the parents kind of insisted upon it. But it was good because halfway through the class, I was just like, you know what? You guys are being a bit too mental today. Let's go to page 47. Let's do page 47. And there are times when it's really good to have that. I have to be honest, as a teacher, to just be able to go, right, guys, not shut up, not that. But if you could kindly open your books quite quietly, that would be lovely. But I do think that education is certainly, and publishers are certainly evolving in a way that it's becoming more on demand.
Yeah, more on demand, more flexible, more responsive. There are great things about textbooks. I'm never gonna say that physical books should go away, of course, because there is something beautiful about a book. But the cost for the school to provide 30 students with textbooks is huge.
And if it's not the school, the cost for the parents to buy
it gets pushed onto someone, and the planetary cost as well. Those books have to be made. They have to be shipped around the world. They're probably made in one country, shipped to another country, and then used in a third country. And so how much sense does that make, really? I don't know. I think educators should have a choice, and so I'm happy that they do have a choice.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with kids kind of the book there. A good course book adds structure. A lot of parents don't know English very well. Absolutely, yeah. I'm not saying here that course books are awful, just to throw my hat into the ring here. I do think, and again, it is a good course book. So that is very much down to the school or the institution choosing correctly, choosing properly, and not just going with, oh, well, we've always used English files, so we'll just keep using it. Or, we've always used that, so we'll keep using it. And it is all about
English file. I love English file.
I'm not criticizing English file. People think I'm like an English file hater. I'm really not. I think there just are other books as well. I really can't wait to see Voices from National Geographic. It looks like it's going to be brilliant.
National Geographic does some amazing things. Amazing. Yeah.
And the imagery is also really cool. So, can't go past that. Also, Roadmap from Pearson is another really good book as well, which I've actually had the chance to use. And it's, it's a book that has evolved. But I do think a lot of publishers are looking at going almost, in some ways, some of them are trying to look to almost skip the teacher, as it were, and do like a lot of micro learning and straight to student sales, which I'm not sure that's the best way to go about things. I think there's a way for people to learn autonomously, particularly adults or older teens, to learn alongside what they're doing If they're doing their MBA, they don't have time to go to an academy. So some of that direct to student learning. But anyone from, at school age, it needs to go through the teacher. The teacher needs to have those materials and have the ability to do that. But again, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And kids kind of said authenticity. You do need to add authenticity. So yeah, a good course book is important, but you do need that kind of real life added to it.
Yeah.
And in real life, there are these things we use called words. Yeah. Now,
another seamless.
You're a word nerd. What is, impossible question for you here, what is your favorite word?
Ooh, actually the other day I was talking about with my family the nicest word to say. In Donnie Darko they always talk about celador, don't they? Celador is like the nicest word to say. But for me, the nicest word to say is Chicago. I think Chicago is just a beautiful, like it just has that like soft beginning and then it opens up massively and then it has that like nice like flowing end that just goes on. I just think it is such a beautiful word to hear and I'm obsessed with the word Chicago.
That's cool. I like Babbling Brook because that's fun to say. But I also I like Pacific Ocean because the A's all sound different. That's because a great why word. Not?
I love the word. I love the sound of the word squat. It cracks me up just to say the word squat. I don't know. It just like it's a lot. It makes
there's a lot of face in there, isn't there?
There's a lot of face. Yes, you can give it squat. I was thinking last night about how weird the word livelihood is. Like lively. That's just a weird word. It's.
Why?
Yeah, lively, and then like
childhood, neighborhood, livelihood. The money that you make.
Exactly. In Spanish, I love the word ronroneando, like purring. I just love that.
Because with the R's as well, it sounds like
exactly. It's a perfect word, and I guess
perfect word.
And I guess just through talking to you, I've realized that, I guess the sounds of words are so important to me. I love the way that they sound and that kind of the surprise of it sometimes to your ear, I think is just wonderful. So yeah, I guess those words and finding out about the history. I wish I could I learned yesterday the word from sky comes from the Old Norse word, I think, which means cloud. And I'm like, yeah, that just proves how bad English weather is, doesn't it? Like, what's that?
Sky is cloud. There you
go. Oh, they mean the sky.
I love speaking Spanish as well as English. I love it when a penny drops for words like mosquito, like little fly.
Yes!
I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like mosquito is a little fly, but it's no. Like,
I know!
So many words have done that to me.
Yes, but we don't say mosca.
No?
Somehow that word didn't come across, but mosquito did. Like,
we call it a fly, because obviously the only thing that can fly is a fly. Are you a Wordle player? I do play Wordle. I just don't publish it. I do play Wordle. Are you a Wordle player, Miranda?
I do appreciate your self-restraint, Harry. No, I don't. I don't play Wordle. I should though, probably.
As a word nerd, you almost certainly should. Epiphany. Kids can say they like epiphany as their word. I also like bankrupt because it comes from the Roman of a broken bench, banco roto, which is bankrupt, banco roto or bancarrota, which is what it is in Spanish. Yeah, because back in Roman times, banks used to be people who would be in the town square, they'd sit on the bench. when they run out of money, they'd smash up the bench and it'd be a broken bench. So bankrupt is
Yes.
quite a nice one.
I never made that connection between bankrupt and like erupt. I guess like is erupt, does that come from the same like to break? Like to break open almost?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I had an epiphany mosquito. There we go. Thanks, Kids Can. There you go. Yes. That whole thing of, I remember when I got to Spain and it was, I heard of banco as a bench. And I was like, I don't have a bench as a bank. That's ridiculous. And I was like, because benches used to be banks. So, which came first? The fruit or the color? Orange, obviously. Right. I've gone off onto a nonsense one. We're going to come back and talk about your future very briefly. We are, however, going to shoot off just for a couple of quick seconds for some adverts, for some words from our sponsors. We will be back in about 2 minutes. So we'll I've just put myself on and then off the telly part. We're back everywhere now, I hope. I've clicked unmute in all the right places and none of the wrong ones. But I can see you again, Miranda, although I could see you before. It was just like in a kind of whited out background, we're here but we're not here kind of mode. Anyway, we were talking about words a moment ago. Something we both like, which as English professionals, I guess that's kind of important. I guess rupture, Michelle says, is one of her favorites. Anything happening interesting to do with words in your future?
Well, yes, Harry. Actually, probably the best opportunity, like better than I ever thought I would ever get in my life, ever in my wildest dreams. Cambridge Dictionary got in touch and said, do you want to be an advisor and help us? I think particularly with their online dictionary. So I've got no idea what this role involves, but I quickly said yes before they realized that they'd made a typo and sent it to the wrong person, or had otherwise made a terrible mistake. So yeah, they're roped in now. So I'm just so looking forward to it. I think it's I was flabbergasted that they
in your online dictionary.
Yeah, and I'm really excited. Also because it means that I complained so much about the English language that now I'm in charge. So if you want someone to blame, I can only blame myself now.
We can all blame you, which is great.
Yes, no, do blame me. Yeah, if your students ever ask.
I'll just be like, this is who you need to get in touch with. Just go find her. She's the one who talks to herself as languages. You know the one. Oh, that one.
I'll make a complaints line, official complaints line about the English language for emergency complaints. It's double.
Why so many G's? What are all the G's about? Why do you need a G there? There's no need for that G. It's so unnecessary. Oh, so many G's in the middle of words. Like, why? Why? I wrote the word height earlier today for a game I was creating. Well, not creating, a game that I made a video about because one of our fellow hosts mentioned it the other day. And I wrote height, and I just thought, that's a stupid word, isn't it? Like, I shouldn't say height. I typed it wrong, and I was like, actually looks pretty good. Looks how maybe it should look. But then no, of course not. Why? It's just all the letters.
It's something that happens to me, particularly when I'm writing on a whiteboard. There's something about it being that big that just makes you think, really?
Why?
This looks wrong.
Yep. Kids kind of suggested a new blog calling it Blame Miranda.
Yeah.
It could be like an agony aunt thing. Where people, instead of sending in things saying, Miranda, can you help us? Miranda, it's your fault. Why is there a G in enough? Laugh.
Yeah.
Why is it not just LARF like it should be? Although one good thing about the English language, they changed the spelling of hiccup, which used to be spelled like hiccough, but now they're just like, oh, we'll give up on that. We'll just spell it hiccup now because nobody says it's hiccup. Fine. We'll go with the proper spelling.
Yes. Well, I guess donut as well. I mean, is that would you spell it? Would you spell it? I guess that looks American to me. The donut, the more phonetic spelling.
I think I'd probably spell it with the American way now. Yeah. It's easier.
Yeah.
It's much easier. Like a lot of the I've been told that Canadian English is the simplest form. I've been told. I don't know if it's true. The simplest form for learners, especially. I mean, that is one good thing about American English. Well, number one, it's everywhere. So if you want to see it or hear it, there's so many free resources with endless TV programs. But also the spelling is more simple with a lot of things. Obviously, words change and stuff. And I don't know what would happen if you said flabbergasted in the States. Is that a word that could be?
I don't know. I'll have to find out. Yeah. I'll bring it up with an American friend and see if they are flabbergasted.
And there's a thing here that kids can write a question saying, why are there 4 silent letters in Q? And my answer to you, Vanessa, is they're not silent. They're just waiting for their turn.
Yay!
Yeah. Word joke. It's almost like I asked her to say that. I definitely didn't. But thanks for saying it. But yeah, just no need for all those silent letters. I'll just say line instead. Works better. So yeah, you're going to be dictionarying, which is pretty cool, I have to say.
Yeah.
Is
I'm super
very
excited
exciting.
about it.
But you'll be dictionary. Oh, hang on. No, that was about bankrupt and breaking benches. Oh, okay, fair enough. So you're going to be dictionarying, but you're still going to be making the awesome videos, right?
Yes. I've got 2 at least top secret videos that I've written the script for. I've just got to tops. Yeah, can't give you. Actually, I can. Well, next one. Okay. You. What's the phrase? Not broke my arm. Twisted my arm.
Twisted
you
it.
twisted
Hang on,
my
I'm
arm.
going to put a light. There you go. The light treatment.
Now I just feel like I'm at the dentist. The next video is going to be about British foods, Britain deciding on their foods. I mean, we have so many just bizarre things, like toad in the hole. Who called it toad in the hole?
Where did that name come from?
That would be great.
Why?
Yes.
There's maybe like pig in a swamp. That'd work.
Pigs in blankets. That's another super British one. What?
Pigs wrapped in blankets made from themselves. Yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah. I think we're both vegetarian, aren't we, Harry? So this is not the
Let's talk all about meat.
Yeah, chip butties. I can't remember who's brought it up the other day, but chip butty, so good. And anyway, but bizarre for other countries. Wine gums. Who decided that a children's sweet should be called wine gums?
Because it stops them whining. Put some sugar in that. There you go. End whining gums. Yeah, so many like funny names. So you've got one on that coming up. I think that's going to also bring a lot out of people out of the woodwork, thinking of their own ridiculous names for things. I also love the idioms ones that you do. The when you look at different idioms from different languages and stuff. The posts that you do for those.
I love idioms, and I think the same thing is true for videos and those memes as well. I think you have to leave some things out because you have to leave something for the people watching the video. You have to leave the space for them to contribute to the conversation as well. And really like that's just really a spark, the start of a conversation. And then what I find is like people in the comments will have so many ideas that's so much better than anything I could have thought up. And that just like leads to more memes and more ideas. So yeah, leaving that space and helping, really just putting an idea out there that helps other people to be funny or say something funny or informative or, quirky or whatever it is. Like, I love doing that because I learn so much from the people who comment. It's always fascinating.
I do love seeing the comments of people saying, what about the Romanian one of this? Because you have such an international audience, like, obviously you're not going to know the Romanian word that makes this and this sound, but then you'll come back and you'll make you'll remake a meme for it. One of my favorite things is when I see, I'll see you post the meme, the one of like the mouth shapes that you did that had like a picture of Trump.
The celebrities?
Yeah, exactly. It was so good. And when you sent it, like, that was brilliant. And then I remember like a week and a half later, I saw somebody else posting it, and somebody else posted it, and somebody else posted it, and somebody else posted it. I'm like, I know where you got that. I know who made that famous meme. Like,
yeah, I honestly, like I still see that.
But like, she's like a marigold.
Yeah, I still see people post that, and like, yeah, it's just kind of out there in the world now, like living its own meme life. I mean, and that's the idea of a meme. Like a meme as like comes from Richard Dawkins, who explains it as like this self-replicating, evolving idea. And I think like that's become. Like it's become a true meme in a way. It's kind of living a life independently. So I enjoy seeing it out there too.
It is.
It's like
so, yeah, it is
I've
fun
released
to
some
say.
weird animal
Yeah.
into the wild.
Yeah, and what I also love is when somebody will post it, and then there'll be one person who, like, I don't know, they'll find one and say, well, I don't think that sound is actually that mouth shape. And it's like, oh, there's always one, isn't there? There's always one. But without them, you know. Oh, it says here, Sir Joe has said in the comments that the word meme has been taken over by the internet.
Yes.
Very much.
Yes, it has been. Yeah, which is interesting because it wasn't the original meaning of, you know, the meaning of the word is so much broader than that. It can be used to talk about any kind of self-replicating idea. But like a gene, it's like a gene, but a meme. But yeah, now how we, ironically, the meaning of the word meme has evolved and kind of generated a different meaning, which is like a meta meme. I guess the word meme is a meta. I'm getting too into this. I'm sorry.
We can't say
Harry.
Meta anymore because that's like been bought by Facebook. So, you know, we can't even do Meta
right.
anymore. Now Meta's even gone from our vernacular. You know, that's complete. You know, it's all gone. We're not allowed to say anything anymore. It's all been bought by the internet, by Zuckerberg and his cronies. It's nearly the end. I can't believe it. I've been waiting for this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's nearly the end. We're nearly finished. Do you have any final thoughts? I know you're not Jerry Springer, but he used to have his final thoughts. I seem to remember. Do you have any that you'd like to share?
Well, I really want to thank you, Harry. Thank you so much for making this so much fun. I really had a blast. And yeah, if anyone has ideas for videos or memes that they would like me to make in the future, just please contact me because I love getting ideas and I love hearing people's thoughts. So yeah, just say hi on LinkedIn or Facebook, and yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Like where's the penny?
Thank you so much.
Between
Thank you
the
to you.
houses.
If your mum listened, thank you so much to your mum.
I'll check now. I'm going to give her a ring in a minute and ask if she was listening. And if she wasn't, she'll be able to listen back using the listen back function. So,
is it possible to subscribe, Harry?
You can subscribe. Yes, absolutely. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and all other good places. So thank you everybody for listening. I'll be back next week, listening and watching. I'll be back next week. But in the meantime, thank you so much, Miranda. I'm going to end our broadcast to the people watching, and I'm going to play us out to all of our wonderful people at home listening. So thanks everybody for tuning in this week.
Thank you. Bye.